In this episode of Film Stock Reviews, I'm reviewing episode 6, Keep Queer of Chucky. Now, this episode starts off with a flashback of what happened in episode 5, Little Lies. And this episode starts off with Andy, Barkley, and Kyle coming back to the Chucky universe as they pose as Census Bureaus who interview a family as they eventually catch a good guy doll named Charlie who reveals to be Chucky himself because Chucky's split his soul into different dolls. So in this scene, he is shot dead by Andy and Kyle in a reminiscent of a Pulp Fiction type scene, which was really, really good. They hightail it the hell out of there, and then this is where the episode begins and starts. And Andy and Kyle then reminisce about what happened during their time with the experience of in Child's Play 2, and it's a great, great callback seeing Andy and Kyle together again, which is really, really fun and really, really fun to watch. And then we go to the school, and in the next scene we find out that Miss Fairchild is framed for murder, 3 murders. We don't know what's happening. Of course, Chucky somehow did it, but it's crazy to think that. And she has no explanation of what happened, and it's just a whole miscombobulation of holy shit, what is happening in this 6th episode. Now we are going back to Tiffany and Nika, and we find that Nika tries to fool Tiffany and say that she's Chucky, but she's not. And then Tiffany actually confesses to Nika and saying that she likes Nika better than Chucky because of the way Nika looks at Tiffany. And it's just really interesting how this whole conversation is. It's a really great, great scene. And Tiffany does reveal to Nika that they bought a house in Hackensack. And that house turns out to be the original house that Charles Lee Ray lived in as a boy. And then Bree, Junior's mother, finally reveals to the family that she has this sickness that she has. And then over the course of the episode, we find out that, she's grieving, but she doesn't want to do this one certain thing, which makes it even better for the family to understand and cope with things. This is where the show takes a different turn. It was very different by how certain thing happened. I don't want to give a spoiler away, but it was very unnecessary. I feel like the writers just actually, Don Mancini felt like it was just good to quickly to do. I don't agree with how they wrote this scene or how they wrote this unexpected death. There are two deaths in this episode. One in the middle of the episode and one at the very end of the episode, which I didn't expect at all. But these 2 deaths, one of them was very unnecessary, and 2, if this unnecessary death didn't happen in this episode, then the death that happened at the end of the episode would have been very, very shocking. What Chucky is doing is different. This is not the Chucky you saw in the previous few episodes of this season. He's just going all out and killing people, and it's just insane. It's really, really weird because something is up. Something is up with Chucky, but he's doing it in a certain way where he's trying to kill people where you're trying to figure out what's happening. And in a 1987 flashback, Charles Lee Ray and Tiffany, now who's blonde, buy a red convertible from an old man. And of course you saw this red convertible at the end of Cult of Chucky. And with that, however, the man accidentally reveals the condition of the car, saying someone was murdered in it, this and that. And then Tiffany just, goes up to the guy and just slashes his throat. So her and Charles Lee Ray steal the car and venture off into Hackensack, New Jersey. And over the course of this episode, we find out the grief and loss of certain things that are happening. Junior really steps forward in this episode. He's really, really front and center. And the obstacles that he goes through is really interesting. He does grieve certain ways, but he does grieve in a way where he breaks up with Lexi, and Lexi didn't see it coming. And basically it's just Andy and Kyle returning into this big, big episode where they find out that, Chucky is still out there killing, but then, they have to do something about it. So Jake and Devin do call Andy, and then they find out that, that Andy's on his way and going to do something about it. The reason this episode is called Cape Queer, it's a reference to Cape Fear with Robert De Niro and Nick Nolte. Basically, some of the scenes were paying homage to that movie, which was really, really good and really, really underrated. If you've never seen that, if you've never seen the references about it, check it out. And Chucky is front and center in this episode, once again, but it's just really crazy of how certain things are done and how the puppeteers and how close-up shots were done. He's more scarier in this episode than I believe than he was in all the previous episodes in this season, but something's going to happen where it's going to be crazy for sure, and I can't wait to check out what happens in the next episode. So let me know in the comment section below what you thought about episode 6 of Chucky Cape Queer. Did you like it? Did you not like it? What did you think of it? This episode changed the character of Junior forever, and it's just crazy that all this happened to him in this episode. Wow. I'm curious to know what you guys think about this episode, so let me know in the comment section below. And I'll see you guys in the next review video.